we would like to welcome and invite Rajiv Menon sir to give his presiding speech.
இளவரசன் சார் சொன்ன மாதிரி okay, I will speak in English and Tamil. ரெண்டு கான்ஸ்டிட்யூன்சியை ஃபில் பண்ணிடலாம். So இளவரசன் சார் சொன்ன மாதிரி, you know, when you heard the name Fuji film, அது நம்ம ஹார்ட்டை கொஞ்சம் ரேஸ் பண்ணுறது. Kadal was a film that we shot on Fuji last. So film is very dear to me. And நீங்கள் இப்போ உலகத்தில் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா எந்த கேமரா மாறினாலும் சென்சர்ஸ் கொஞ்சம் கம்பெனி தான் பண்ணுறாங்க. So you have Sony sensors and you have Canon sensors, and then you have DLSA as a sensor in European sensor. And then there is another very big company called, which is part of Toshiba, which also makes sensors. So if everybody's sensor becomes same, then how do you give a different image? That's a question that happened. So you have to go back and look at who wants what. So Sony ended up buying a company called MENON, which was, they had a huge case against them from Honeywell. So they sold out, and so they got the tech for the still camera from MENON, and they kind of developed their tech. But Fuji was a film company. Amongst all these camera companies, these are the people who struggled with how to get green right, how to get blue right, and how to get red right. And as a person who studied cinematography in the Film Institute, but my eyes opened under a guru of ours called Ashok Mehta, who opened my creative eyes. But my technical eyes were opened in this premises. I used to operate and run the Steadicam here. In this very same thing, in these steps, this auditorium was a flat auditorium. It only had 3 steps in the back. So I used to practice here. I used to practice on this, and in the 70 staircase I used to keep climbing. And when I got tired after doing 2 hours work panidukapram, I used to go to the lab. Shivaraman sir, Ponniyan sir, Bolan sir, and Devraj. Even the grade pandra footage, I used to go and sit behind. If the cameraman was not angry, I would sit behind and see what the printer point numbers are. Magically, I started understanding that the better looking filmmakers were getting their printer point numbers between 25 and 30. So my whole obsession was, how do I get exposure right in order to get the beauty and not overexpose. Majority of cameramen were overexposing to 40, 41. And once the cameraman leaves, these graders, இவங்க போட்டு ஓவர் எக்ஸ்போஸ் பண்ணி சாவடிப்பாங்க, அதுக்கப்புறம் ஏன் கலர் வரலன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. ஸோ ஐ ஹர்ட் திஸ் திங் அண்ட் வாட்ச்ட் ஃபிலிம்ஸ் கம் அவுட். ஸோ சாகர் வரும்போது ஒரு மாதிரி 6 மாதம் இங்கே அன்வர் சாப் வாஸ் சிட்டிங் ஹியர் அண்ட் ஒர்க்கிங். மணி கால் வுட் கம் ஹியர், யூனோ, வித் வேணு. ஒரு சைடில் ஆர்ட் சினிமா, ஒரு சைடில் கமர்ஷியல் சினிமா, அண்ட் ஐ வாஸ் வாட்சிங் ஆல் திஸ். That was the time where, you know, people were debating whether Kodak positive venama, Agfa Gavert positive venama. அதுக்குள்ள ஒரே நெகட்டிவ்ல அக்ஃபா பிரிண்ட், கோடாக் பிரிண்ட், இதில் என்ன வித்தியாசம் வரும்? இதெல்லாம் அது பிரிண்ட் பாயிண்ட் எப்படி மாறுது, எவ்வளோ மைன்யூட்டாக பிங்க் அதிகமாக இருக்கோ அல்லாட்டி க்ரீன் அதிகமாக இருக்கோ, இது வி ஆர் ஆக்சுவலி சீயிங் இட். ஒரு கோடாக் பிரிண்ட் பார்க்கலாம் சிட்டிக்கு, கேவாட் பிரிண்ட் ஃபார் ஊருன்னு சொல்லி அது எவ்வளோ பிரைட்னஸ் பண்ணுறது, இந்த மாதிரி விஷயங்கள் தெரிஞ்சு அப்படி தான் நானும் என்னோட டெக்னிக்கல் ஐ ஓப்பன் பண்ணிட்டேன். ஸோ வென் யூ கம் டு அ கேமரா அண்ட் அ கேமரா இஸ் பீங் மேட், a camera manufacturing company says, let me do the metering better, let me do the shutter better, let me go for a global shutter. We are having an issue like that. But one company was saying, let me get the colors right. And that's because in film, you always try to get the colors right. So in some ways, Fuji's DNA is in color, getting color right. Even what Astivaram enna sonna was that. So when we shot in Fuji and we did tests, we found that the greens were coming out better, and the daylight stock, the polarized sky was looking better. So I chose that basically in Kadal because the sea and the sky was coming out better. So I had to make that choice. So what I'm trying to say is that that particular aspect, even though your sensor is the same, the algorithm to harvest the image and to get the right color signs to extract the final image is really a factor of your intention behind the camera. So one side there is I am first for 4K, I am first for 6K. These are numbers. கடைசியில் நம்ம ப்ரொஜெக்டில் வரும்போது there's only 2K. And மிஞ்சி போனால் now Amazon and they are asking for 4K. But what is it that we see internationally happening? Good filmmakers are going back to film. Oppenheimer, Christopher Nolan has led the thing. And this time in Cannes, out of the 100-odd films, there were almost 20 films shot on film. So what is it that makes all of us still love cinema and film grain in a peculiar manner? So one of it is about improving the image quality. And you can say that digital cameras have really got. But now Fuji comes in with a game changer. The game changer being they're getting you a bigger sensor. So you can either pack more or you can give a bigger sensor. And I think this becomes a very, very interesting device for people who are looking at background plates, people who are looking for a greater image quality. And Rumba Kashtapattu, we are trying to keep our F number open and get a better bokeh. Then you will get shallow depth of field when you use a larger format camera automatically. But all your focus pullers are going to struggle trying to get focus in it. And then you will realize that to get the face in focus, you have to expose over 4.5 to get the eye and the ear in focus. So this is always a conundrum between bokeh and depth of field, which is workable. This is the actual practical aspect that we as cinematographers are grappling. If you just go at 1.4, artist moves a little bit, you're in out of focus. Today you see more out of focus shots with more technology than we saw during the film era. Because people concentrated more on the set. People concentrate less on the set. No continuity is written. Nobody has any notes. So we are in a free-for-all situation right now. So coming back to this launch, the moment, Ilavarsan called me and said there is such something like that and, you should do Fuji films. So I'm as a student, I'm very excited because I want to know how it looks. And they said, Asim Bajaj has shot a documentary with his wife, Leena. I said, wow, I want to see it. You know why? Because Asim is my creative brother. Because we both worshipped and learned from one man called Ashok Mehta. So we are what in Sufi terms we'll say, hum ek hi bande ke. we are from the same peer we believe in. So for me, it's very interesting to see somebody who's going to push the envelope and see how would the highlights hold in Ladakh, in the sky, in the upper reaches, and what's going to happen to the peaks, and what's going to happen to white where it's getting blown out when the light is hitting, and when you are at f32 and stuff like that. I'm very curious to know. Two is, before I became a cinematographer, as he said, I was also struggling as an industrial still photographer. I didn't know anybody in the industry, so I tried to be a still photographer for advertising. So at that time, you needed to buy a Hasselblad to be able to get, and it was very expensive. So the cheaper option was Mamiya RB67. It was bulkier, and I owned one, and I used to do factory visits, shoot lathes, pistons, and various other things. That's how I sort of came up. And at that time, there was a possibility if you didn't have money, you would get a Mamiya 645, which was a medium format sensor, which was originally created by Zensa Bronica. This sensor is close to that. It's not 6x6, but it's 645 equivalent. And I think it's this wire media which gives you a greater amount of information which you can use in all your background plates. And a bigger sensor means more information and not mathematic jugglery by trying to say you're 8K or something. A lot of it is mathematical jugglery by oversampling. So I think it's a great effort. I don't want to speak anything more because I only have read. I haven't seen. I haven't used the camera. Azim has used the camera. And I would say, judge from your own eyes. Don't listen to others. Your eyes is unique. Each one of you is different. Believe in your eyes, believe in your vision, and may light show you the way. Thank you.